Hello and welcome. It's Nutrition Moments, and here we get comprehensive information about what we eat. Let's start with recent events and developments in the field of nutrition on NutriNews. You're welcome back. Hypertension is a leading cause of mortality in Africa and Nigeria. On NutriLens today, we shall examine how nutrition can be helpful in managing the condition. Reports of stroke and deaths by slumping have been prevalent in the country in recent years, claiming lives of prominent and ordinary people. Victims of these sudden deaths, according to relatives, act normal, showing no symptoms and afterwards slumping. This sudden death has been attributed to many unscientific factors such as spiritual attacks, but medical experts point to some neglected health issues which may be connected to hypertension, stroke, and heart attack. According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 1.28 billion adults aged 30 to 79 years worldwide have hypertension, with a prevalence of 31.2% in Nigeria. Often described as silent killer by medical experts, hypertension does not often exhibit any visible symptoms until the victim falls.
To a layperson, hypertension is when the amount of blood pressure, that is the pressure of flow that enters the heart, is higher than normal, and the amount of pressure that leaves the heart is also above normal. If your blood pressure, the one up, is called systolic, if it's above 120, you already have blood pressure. The lower one is called diastolic. If it's above 80, you already have hypertension. The distribution of this disease is not a matter of old age disease anymore. Yes, one of the risk factors is the older you get, the likelihood that you have blood pressure. And the simple reason is that a heart that works for over 40 years, 50 years, will automatically get tired. And so its workings is weak, and so blood pressure comes in. But today, you have what is called childhood hypertension. A child less than 10 years have hypertension. The complication of blood pressure is stroke. Children have stroke. You have less than 10 years, 15 years, they have stroke. Sex, it is more with men than women, especially when you talk of the adult age. However, in terms of races and clans, it's more with the blacks than the whites.
While it is important to regularly check our blood pressure level and seek medical help if necessary, medical experts say factors such as unhealthy diets, indisciplined lifestyles, physical inactivity, and stress can contribute to around 30% of preventable morbidity and mortality from non-communicable disease like hypertension.
The other factors why it is common in Nigeria is obvious to everybody. Our lifestyle have changed tremendously. When we talk of lifestyle, talking of the kind of food you eat, the kind of drink you engaged in, the kind of activities you do, the level of stress you go through. Now, you look at food, we have shifted completely from our local food to modernized food, from our natural food to our artificial food. So this transformation from local, natural to artificial and modern food has played a major role in the upsurge of high blood pressure. Drinks has now been a problem. Alcohol consumptions, smoking That in those days, you there don't smoke in the public, or as a young man, you smoke secretly. Now, in young ages, smoke a hell of things. They drink a lot of toxic things that eventually insult their system. Outside this, the art of self-medication, the so-called English drugs that a lot of people take, has been a major factor also that led to high blood pressure. Most of the analgesic painkillers, when you take painkillers for a long time, it will insult the kidney. You develop blood pressure. So many people are not aware. Most of our women that are using cream to tone the body and skin, they end up having blood pressure. Most people do not know that some drugs they also use to look beautiful and other things, cosmetics, give them blood pressure. Now imagine now stress in terms of environmental stress, financial stress, social stress, economic stress, and other form of stress, emotional stress. In a society when an individual do not have food to eat and cannot feed his family, will be stressed. When an individual cannot provide for his family in terms of housing, will be stressed. When a landlord is chasing you because you have lost your job, you cannot pay, you'll be stressed. Eventually, your boss is fighting you in the office, you're not doing well, you cannot meet targets, you are stressed. All of this together give you a sleepless night. Once your sleeping pattern also is affected, you cannot survive hypertension.
Poor diets and unhealthy food choices, such as excessive consumption of saturated fatty acids and trans fatty acids, along with higher consumption of salt and sugar, have been highlighted as risk factors for cardiovascular diseases. How are risk factors related to high blood pressure?
In terms of nutrition, you're talking of food items, you're talking of water component as well. So this goes together to determine who you are. And I can tell you today, whoever that's watching this program, let me tell you frankly, you are what you eat. So the component of food you consume determines so many things about you. Is it your brain capacity? Is it food you eat? Your strength? Is it food you eat? Your skin? Is it food you eat? So many things, your ability to fight disease, is the food you eat. So you are exactly who you are, a factor mirror to what you eat. Now, when it comes to disease entity, philosophers in medicine, from Socrates to Aristotle, will tell you, human being will run into disease on account of what he eats. 60% of disease man goes through in life is due to what he consumes. So if 60% of disease is due to what you eat and what you drink, it therefore means that hypertension as a disease that has ravaged our country today is also dependent on what we eat. Until people will identify food that have high content salt and avoid it, blood pressure will not leave their family. A normal human being, a normal adult, should not take more than 2,300 milligrams of salt per day. A full normal spoon is what a man should consume in a whole day, 24 hours. Unfortunately, most of the food we have access to today in the modern way have more than this, even times 10 of it in some food items. Most of the public restaurant today will give you food that has a salt that's higher than what your body needs for, even for the next 1 month. You eat it one day. Most of these restaurants will have to preserve their food, fish, meat. To preserve it, they salt those food. So when they cook it, it has a higher salt than what you need. So if you depend on restaurant food, you never had blood pressure before, beware, you will soon develop blood pressure. Are you aware the bread we take, they put salt? It's just that we don't feel the taste of salt. They must use salt to mix that flour. There's a minimum they're supposed to use, but they use higher because of another reason, which I will not want to say here now. If you take a lot of bread continuously, you are prone to have hypertension as well. Are you aware most of the condiments, most of what people use, the woman use in the kitchen to make the soup for the husband, contains high level of salt that will eventually give the man what? Hypertension. Now, beyond this, any food that will last more than 6 months on the shelf contains high amount of salt because otherwise it will spoil. Preservative, they use chemical. We're not talking of that. We're talking of the salt content of most of the food on the shelf that has to be eaten contains high salt. Now, beyond this, even our Mama Buka around has succeeded in putting paracetamol to cook meat so as to make the meat soft, and people will rush to the place to buy more. Paracetamol will go into the kidney first. Anything that insults the kidney will automatically eventually bring blood pressure back to you. What I found again is that most of the soft drinks they consume contains caffeine. So the type that take anything that has caffeine, beware, you're going to have blood pressure. So your cola nuts, it contains caffeine, and any other tea that's caffeine based will give you blood pressure at the end of the day. In the name of nutrition and want to enjoy life, majority have succeeded in buying blood pressure, eating blood pressure, and then they will now start looking for money to now cure the same blood pressure they bought by themselves. So until we get diet right, we may not be able to save ourselves from hypertension.
Proactive healthy habits, according to medical experts, can help achieve a downward shift in the cases of high blood pressure among Nigerians. The World Health Organization recommends a reduction in our salt intake to less than 5 grams per day to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, and coronary heart disease in adults and individuals of 16 years of age and above. Healthy eating habits has also been identified as a key factor in preventing and reducing high blood pressure. This entails having balanced diets consisting of fruits, vegetables, and low-fat dairy products, whole grains, poultry, fish, and nuts, while limiting the amount of sweets and sugar-containing beverages. Nutritionists recommend consuming foods high in potassium to reduce high blood pressure and prevent stroke. Maintaining healthy weight by keeping the body at a mass index between 18.5 and 24.9 can be helpful in managing hypertension. Physical activity has been shown to lower blood pressure and the overall risk of all-cause mortality among the ages of 45 and 84. I'm sure you had an enlightening moment on the program. Join me same time next week. But until then, don't compromise on your diet. Eat right to stay healthy.